My name is Abiodun. Okay, I'm the founder of Share Projects. I help foreign trained professionals who are looking to get back into their career here in Canada. I've been working with a lot of professionals who came into Canada to see how they can navigate the cultural barriers here in Canada. As you may already know, there are a lot of challenges. Sorry, for a lot of foreign trained professionals who are looking to break into the industry here. They have brought a lot of experience, a lot of certifications, I mean, global certifications in their profession. However, there are still a lot of challenges, with these professionals breaking into the profession. So, as one of those initiatives of serial projects, we have this network of supply jobs, supply chain professionals called Supply Jobs Canada, and one of our initiatives is to help the industry know more about these professionals, either through projects, consulting, internship, any other opportunity that is available through our organization. We're able to bring them to you to make the industry more knowledgeable about these resources and professionals that are available in the industry. So today I am interviewing one of the professionals in our network. Her name is Nancy Eke-Agu. She has actually been working with me and my other colleagues on one of our projects, which is exploring the construction industry in Canada. If you've been following some of our programs, you probably would have seen our or you'll have seen our name being mentioned in some of the updates we have on the LinkedIn. So, without much ado, I would like to introduce you to Nancy. Nancy, welcome to my program here today. Nice to have you.
Thank you, Abiodun, for having me. It's my pleasure
Okay.
indeed.
Okay. So before we go forward, okay, I would do I like to do is I like to I'll let you know about Nancy from the formal, bio as it is, but we'll go later into some details about her personality. Hopefully she'll be able to share more of that with us so that we can really know her better. But for now, I'll read bio to you. Nancy Eke-Agu is a supply chain professional with 10 years of experience in the private sector. In this time frame, she has practiced in a variety of roles ranging from project management, strategic sourcing and negotiations, category management, contract management, and administration. Also, she's very experienced in supplier governance and supplier performance management. All of this within the information technology sector. She is currently working with the Halifax Regional Municipality as a project manager. She's constantly reaching for more. She brings our best and A game every time. And I can actually attest to that, working with me on some of our projects. She doesn't give any excuses. She always gets the job done, right? Nancy has a degree in urban and regional planning, a PMP certification from the Project Management Institute, United States of America, and a certificate in contract law from the prestigious Harvard University. Wow. She's also a member of the PMI Institute, as well as a member of the PMI local chapter in Nova Scotia, Canada, where she resides with her family. Okay. So, Nancy, the first question, of course, that I always like to ask, they ask that in interviews, but I'll let you, give it a shot. Basically, tell us about yourself.
Okay, thank you for that question. I like to describe myself as a woman of many parts. Yeah, but because this is tailored to just professionally for now, I would um like to say that I am a supply chain specialist. I have practiced for just a little over 10 years. And I mean, this time frame, just like Biodun had read in my bio, I have handled performance management, as supplier performance management. I have handled supplier governance. I have handled contract administration and management. I have also, been involved in project management as a core project manager, handling third-party deliverables and then ensuring that things are done according to scope, schedule, budget, and all of that. Um, this I have been able to do in the past 10 years of my career life. And right now, like you mentioned in my bio, I'm not trying to read bio all over again, but I am currently engaged in my municipality where I reside with my family, Halifax Regional Municipality here in Nova Scotia, as a project manager and business analyst. And it's such that I would be engaging, different third parties really again. So it brings us back to the third party team. It happens that I have just managed third parties all my life, all my career life. Initially, the first 10 years in the private sector in the information technology space. And then right now, I'm transferring those same skill sets that I have gathered over time into the governmental sector. And I hope it would be a jolly good ride. I hope to keep doing this for a very long time because this is where I think I found my strengths. Yeah. And I
Mm.
think that pretty much sums it up about me professionally.
Okay, great. Sounds good. You know what? A lot of us, we want to know more than just about your professional, background. Can you just give us some ideas to who you are outside of work? I kind of have some idea, but I would like you to share what are those things that you think are really unique about you as a personality, and how that actually manifests, your day-to-day relationship, maybe with your colleagues, with your friends, and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you for that one. Outside of the professional and career path or career discussions, I would say I am an avid negotiator, and that's not talking about professional now. I happen to be a
Mm.
mother of three boys, all aged, all under six. And so it means that for every time I'm constant, my last son is just on one, and so the first is 6 years old. And so it means that for every time I'm having to negotiate, I'm having to do stuff. And in this part of town where we live, Canada, you really have little or no family support, and so that
Wow.
means that whatever you do, you have to be on top of your game to ensure that you are balanced on all levels. So
Mm.
nothing has to um, give for the other when it comes to balancing motherhood, being a wife at the same time, also trying to develop yourself personally. I like to read a lot as well. So in my spare time, you find me reading, reading books on business, books on investment, books on finance, just trying to just develop myself on all fronts. I also love watching a lot of football. Yes,
Oh,
that's my
really?
favorite. I do quite some football. I am a Manchester United fan. I have been for almost 15 years now. Yeah. And so if I'm not reading, I'm actually engaging in talks with my husband. We're just trying to expand my mind or just watching football. Besides
Okay.
mothering and parenting. Yes. So that's something fun for
Nice, nice. I mean,
me.
yeah, well, the one that I picked there is Manchester United football fan, right?
Yeah.
Well, I hope you are following all the games because I call myself Manchester United fan, but I'm a terrible fan because
There's actually a
I
game going on at this time, with Wolves, but
I
I just had to sit
I
back for a
hardly
bit and just
I
watch them
hardly
back.
follow their games, and
Yeah,
I know pretty much they have not really been doing well for some time
we
now. But
haven't, we haven't,
yeah, I
we
mean, a fan
haven't.
is a fan, regardless if they
Yeah.
were doing fine or not. So, well, also, I think maybe one thing that you probably have left out of all this is the fact that you're actually from Nigeria, right? You came originally from Nigeria, which one of the things I like to actually discuss with the professionals within our network is the fact that Canada is a place where you see everybody comes here from different cultures, and
Absolutely.
there's always one thing or the other that is unique about the culture where they're coming from, which I actually feel like that's one of the greatest strengths that like Canada has.
Ah,
So, in that regards, I like to really even know from you because there's probably something about Nigeria that you miss because now you're in Canada. What would that be?
well, for me. Um, Two things. One is the absence of, family support. Now not talking professionally, because in
Mm,
Canada it's all man for himself. But in Nigeria, yeah, in Nigeria you have family, you have friends, you have neighbors, and worst case,
yeah.
if you don't have the support structure around you, you can always get a maid, a nanny, a caregiver, a house help, someone who will stand in that space for you while you just, go around, you'll get around to do other things that are important or priority to you at that time. But
Mm,
in Canada here, it's a different ball game. And so it means that you have to, at every point in time, balance whatever you are doing, especially if I, on this side, as a wife and a mother, where there's no one, I hear mommy 1,000 times daily, and I have to absorb it because there's nowhere, even if I have, daycare centers where I could drop my kids, by 5:30 or 6, everyone is going home. And so you are
yeah.
saddled with kids again. Yeah. And so if there's one thing I miss about Nigeria, it has to be that family support structure you
Mm,
always have around you. And so it makes you just, want to just extend yourself and do a lot more. Secondly, what
true.
I mean is the fresh food, Nigerian food now. I know we have African stores here, where you have very many, but sometimes I need my oha soup, and people might drive in Nigeria, and so the freshness of the ugu and the oha and all of that, I really miss them. But what can we
Yeah.
do? Yes, I'm just making the
I
most of what I find around me. But yeah, I miss that as well.
That's true. I also miss. I mean, I'm some like I would say I can confess to that. I'm somebody that likes food a lot, and of course there are a lot of varieties when it comes to Nigerian food. I mean, that's also one of the strengths of Nigeria in the sense that you have all these cultures, coming to one place as
Yeah.
Nigeria, and so you have options of a lot of different varieties of food. I'm not even sure if I've eaten horror soup before, but of course I know it's one of those favorite dishes of people
Mm.
from the east. So nice, nice, nice. I mean, I can relate. It's really a lot of burden, I would say it is for, especially for working mothers, especially for mothers who are professionals.
Career women, yes.
Yeah,
They have
because
balanced
my
parenting as well as career.
yeah,
It's a tough
my
one,
my
yeah.
wife was actually in Nigeria a couple of months back, and that's one thing. She came back, she was just like, "Ah, man, you feel like I should go back to Nigeria
I
because I
know,
can. I'm just so jealous of all the support these guys have. Like
yeah,
the grandmother is there, even there's Hannah help 24 hours, who is always,
yeah,
at the beck and call of, the guys, like, well, it's a huge thing, for us. I can relate to that, to have that
yeah,
help, especially when you're a very busy professional.
yeah,
Yeah, that's one or two things about the culture from of Nigeria that you can learn, that people have a lot of support from family, even from the way the support system works in Nigeria. Well, back to Canada.
yeah.
So uh, for me, I came to Canada, and the one of the things that I actually found was this is a different culture entirely, different things that you see here that you haven't actually experienced wherever you're coming from. So I'm kind of wondering for you, what is that thing that was a shock when you came into Canada? Can you relate your experience about that thing that kind of shocked you when you came into Canada?
Well, for me, it was the fact that um, Canadians are very friendly people. My very
Because
first
there are
surprise was the fact that um, I I just couldn't comprehend why Canadians would be so friendly. And that's not saying Nigerians are not friendly, but sometimes it appeared that being friendly was because there was something they wanted to get from you, or something you had to give that would benefit them. For instance, having to ask for directions sometimes,
hmm,
way back in Nigeria, sometimes you don't get the response you want because someone is either thinking you are trying to play fast one, or
hmm,
you are trying to be dubious or something. But here it was a surprise because
Mm.
I remember when we, when my family and I came to Canada, and I had to start learning how to use, how to navigate the bus, the bus transit system,
System, yeah.
where the buses will stop, when they would stop, and I remember that a couple of times I entered the wrong buses, and I
Oh,
found myself in a different place, now, of course, that meant I had to come down where I was completely, I didn't know where I was
oh,
and all of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And I remember one incident where I think I forgot to charge my phone, so I couldn't even use Google Maps to trace where I was and
Oh,
how much time and how far away I was from my home and all of that. So I had to
oh,
rely on, people to say, okay, I'm going to this place and this is where I am. I'm sorry about that and all of that. And the response I received, it was just so, um permit me to say, out of place at that time, because I wasn't used to
mm,
it. And I wondered why people just look right, you know. But I have been here for over a year, almost a year and a half right now. And I have seen over time that that's just how they are. Canadians are very friendly people, and they
yeah.
do it without expecting anything. Yeah, for me that was a complete
Mm.
surprise. But that's how it should be, and I'm warming up to it and getting used to it. But when I did, when we just landed here, I didn't think.
Mm.
I kept wondering why is everyone just friendly? Why? And then also the fact that, secondly, also the fact that coming from Nigeria, if you wanted to cross the road, you had to run. You would
Mm.
take a dash from one
Yeah.
end of the road to the other side, and then you have to dodge bikes and all of that. But here, as a pedestrian, you were the king of the road. You press
Yeah.
the what's it called, the notification, or that signal showing that you wanted to cross, and everybody.
We've heard about the cultural shocks when you first came into Canada, and also what you have missed, since you came into Canada. And it kind of interesting now to learn about, your journey professionally. Can you speak a little bit into how you got into the supply chain management profession? Because a lot of people kind of got in different ways. I have my own story how I got into supply chain management, but I like to learn, about your own story and, how did you get into supply chain, like the very first job in supply chain management?
Okay, I remember that right after my graduation, I attended University of Lagos. I went for my NYSC. I served with Zenith Bank, somewhere in Abiodun, in Ogun State, Nigeria. And so I remember that right after my service year, I wanted to be retained. I had the company, the bankers at that time, reach out to me to say, if you wanted to stay back, that's fine. You have done well, and we would like to keep you if you want to stay. But I just, I I think I didn't think I was cut out for the having to wear suits all the time, look
Mhm.
very corporate and all of that. One that was good, and I really liked to be very dressy and all. I just didn't think that that was what I wasn't a salesperson, where I had to chase targets and all of that. As a matter of fact, I was a customer service lead representative. So when they reached out to me to say I could stay, I felt some sort of dissatisfaction, and I had people say, my colleagues at the time, that it's a good call. Why don't you take it? You're going to rise, fast. You're going to rise really quickly up the career ladder and all of that. But I didn't think it was what I would have done, and so I declined the offer and I went back to Lagos.
Mm.
And then for the first 2 weeks, I stayed back, more like, okay, so I'm back from youth service NYSC, as it were. What is next? I really didn't have a target company I wanted to work with. But I had known my strength at that time. And part of my strength I had realized was the ability to, coordinate moving parts together. I had known that from for a very long time, that was one of my key assets of key strengths. And so being a customer service person didn't cut it for me. And so I resigned and I came back to Lagos. And I remember that after 2 weeks of, being at home, sending resumes and all of that, to various companies, and no one was calling me, I decided to take the bull by the horns myself. And now, before then, I had this. Okay, I finished with a second class opera. I am hot cake. I have companies calling me, and so it made me just stay back a bit, sending resumes, and no one was calling me. And after 2 weeks of doing that, I got bored. And I said, you know what? If the mountain does not come to Mohammed, Mohammed will go to the mountain. And so I remember that morning, I dressed up, looking very good, wore my heels, wore my suit, printed my resumes, 20 of them. And I said, "Okay, today I'm going to walk the entire stretch of Abiodun, Victoria Island, Lagos at the time. And I know that before I'm done sharing 20 resumes, one person will call me, and so I sort of set up that morning, dropped, highlighted the boss where I was going to drop, and then entered each office. Sometimes I couldn't get past the security guys because,
Mm.
they couldn't let me see the front desk, or they just take my resume and say, okay, we'll send it in and all. And so I remember getting to this building, really very, it contained over 20 offices. It was about a 10-story building right on
Oh,
Deku Street in VI, then Sapetro Town. And at this time, I had worked from the beginning of Adeola Deku all the way to the end, And then I stood there wondering where I would start entering this offices because it was a very massive 10-story building. And while I was there, lost in my thoughts and calculating where do I enter, what do I say, I only had like 10 resumes left, and it looked like they had more than 10 companies here. And someone just asked me, who are you looking for? And I turned and I saw him. He was actually dressed in overalls, with a lot of grime and oil, on him, And but I remembered something that my mother had taught me. Be kind to whoever you see. They might just be your next they might just be the open door to your next position. And so I, greeted him rather respectfully, explained to him that I was sent for a job and all of that. Okay, you just finished school. He asked me quite some questions. I responded to him, and I remember that he said, "Okay, you know what? Where you are standing is not the right place, and besides it's lunchtime, so everyone who's coming out of here is on his way to go and eat, so nobody will listen to you." And then long story short, just to cut the long story short, he was the one that took me to the CEO of the company, an IT firm at the time, where I
mm,
got my first job. And so he
nice.
held me by the hand and walked there, yeah, and then introduced me as his sister, and then gave my resume to the CEO, who looked at it and, wow, she has quite an impressive resume and all of that. And I was, sent to the HR right there for an interview, and I started work the next day. It
Wow.
was quite dramatic, but I remember that it was because, perhaps it was because I took that shot to go out there
Mm,
and get the job myself, as against waiting for someone to call me for an
sure.
interview. So um I remember that story, and I have made a mental note for everyone who is job seeking as a fresh graduate, or someone who is just starting out in the business or in the labor market. I always tell them, don't wait to get the job. Go out and get the job. Just never know
Wow.
what. Yeah, the possibilities are endless. Yeah, that's my own story.
Wow, wow, wow. I really love what you said there. The last thing you said there, don't wait. And actually, that's one of the strategies that I actually teach people here when they are looking to job search. I let them understand that, a lot of the jobs out there would not show up on newspapers, they won't show up on online job boards. It's about the people that you know within the industry. And the interesting thing, a lot of Nigerians would tell me, oh, I mean, Nigerians from back home in Canada would say, oh, does that happen here?
It
I'm like,
does.
oh
It
yeah,
does.
you
Yeah, it does.
know, people trust a human beings more than two sheets of paper, which is the resume.
Absolutely.
So
True.
that's why sometimes when I hear people say that, I'm like, okay, what is going on here? Why are these people always in denial when I tell them that you have to reach out? You
Mm,
don't wait for interviews. If there you got what the message there that Nancy had there, don't wait. You reach out to the industry, reach out to
mm,
people that have the same job title as you desire, reach out to them. They might be the one that will let you know there's one job opportunity that's actually coming up that is not yet
sure.
posted.
Advertise.
And
Yeah.
a lot of people that have encountered who got their jobs the way Nancy is talking about it, a lot of those jobs, it was after they've actually given them the job, they told them to go and apply online. Okay.
Mm.
That's the
Just
reality of
for
job
just to
search.
regularize the documentation. Yeah. The
Paperwork.
company should do it. Yeah.
So that's a very great one. I really like that. What you shared there about, getting the jobs by reaching out, not waiting for, this job posting to show up before you actually
Go for it.
go out to reach out to people. Yeah, well, that seemed to work out for you, but I'm sure you've tried every other methods out there, and well, that one worked out. Okay, well, let us know also about the one that did not work out. Which one would you call? Can you tell us about a story of maybe a job search failure event that you have experienced before? So people can know. Okay, so if we know the way it works, how about the way it didn't work? Let us know also about that.
Okay, and thank you for that question. I remember that coming from Nigeria, there was always a mindset, or a mentality, generic mentality that you could use one resume to apply for 10,000 roles. All you needed to do was just highlight what you were doing and how what the recruiter wanted, what you were doing and how you could show what the recruiter wanted on your resume, even if it's just one line, and then you pour every other thing in a 10-page document. In fact, the longer your resume or your CV, the more it appeared that you had gathered or have gathered a lot of experience. And that was a shock for me when I got here, because
Yeah.
I came with that same mentality that, okay, since, and then way back in Nigeria, I remember that all the times I had changed jobs within, the time I was working in Nigeria, it seemed to be really easy for me to do. Just change jobs, and then with the snap of your finger, send your resume. They see it, they call you, you do this, get interviewed, and you get the job. So when I got to Canada, I came with that same mentality that one resume fits all the jobs.
Mm,
And so I was in for a very big surprise, because when I started in that manner, I realized that nobody was calling me. And you would, in fact, sometimes after I had applied for this job, after 2 weeks, they would advertise the position again. And I'm like, I see that they're not seeing my resume, or all that. But that was because I was working with the wrong mentality that I could use every resume,
mm,
one resume to apply for 10,000 jobs. And that the longer your resume was, the more um, experienced, or the more equipped, or the more, which word do I use right now? The more you would be looked at as someone who had, a wide range of experiences. But for me, that was one thing I discovered, rather painfully. And so when I began to make amends, in the sense that for everything that was mentioned in the job description, you had to target your resume rather
yeah.
painfully, so that you are not using one, even if you had that experience maybe 4 or 5 years ago, as long as the job description in the advertised role mentions this, you have to target that, you have to keep tailoring, just so that it is almost word for word, not in a copy and paste manner, but so
Yeah.
that when they had the ATS track, I think it's the ATS automatic tracking system, I think, that
Yeah.
recruiters use. They have those phrases that your resume will that would attract what they want from your resume, and then you can be called up for that interview. I realized that rather too late. And then
Mm.
also the fact that I thought the longer your resume was, the better for you. Showed that you were a woman of many. In Canada, they don't do jack of all trades. You are one person, you are tailored for a specific role, and when they see that you're a match for it, and then you are shortlisted for an interview, and you get the role. When you are doing 100 things in a 10-page document, they don't see you as a
Yeah.
master of the game. Yeah, so I learned that rather painfully as well, and I'm glad I began to make the right adjustments thanks to this supply chain jobs
Okay.
Canada. Thanks to you, and then yes, the network I was exposed to and information I began to gather from this association, and I was able to just put myself together in time to align with what was required.
Great, great, great.
Yeah.
Thanks. So that's also another very good one you mentioned there. A lot of people come into this country thinking that, oh, it's one resume fits all, which of course that's not really a very good approach to job search in Canada, because um, what you end up with is a situation where your resume doesn't fit into the type of resumes that the employers are looking for. You see, a lot of foreign training professionals get into this thing where they are sending hundreds. I've asked some people before, how many applications have you sent the last one? They tell me 100. Really? How many responses did you get? Two responses. And it is
Denial,
this,
baby.
yeah, it is this same situation where people are just sending the same resume to every different type of jobs out there. Of course, that's not a great strategy. So the good to you mentioned that. Very good, very good. So I'm enjoying this so far, Nancy. Thanks so much for your time with us, sharing all of this knowledge. Which is also about your own story. So you're in your bio. We actually read the part where it says that you're now working with the Halifax regional municipality, right? Halifax regional municipality. So what I'd like to know is how were you able to break into the industry? Because I understand that this will probably will be your first supply chain related role, is it? So
Yes.
how did you get to break into the industry? If you can share that with us.
Okay. I would say by association, in the sense that I was able to um, get acquainted with people who were supply chain specialists, especially on LinkedIn. Yes,
Okay.
and then I while I know I could do better on LinkedIn, in terms of commenting on people's posts and all of that, I made a personal note to reach out to them privately, on their LinkedIn profile, what's the word, introduce myself. This is what I've done, this is what I'm looking for, and this is the value I can bring. So in that way I was able to land this role, basically through LinkedIn, and expanding my professional networks, basically within the people around me here who I knew will be my next door opener to my next level. And so, like I did say, it was just basically through LinkedIn. Yes, and then also to remember that I also joined a professional network here, Immigration Association of Nova Scotia, who help out with immigrants who are just getting into the system and trying to break through as well. So in fact, by the time like I had spoken with the recruiter of this role I just landed, the hiring manager rather, um, when she pointed me to someone within the same network of the Immigration Association of Nova Scotia who I already was talking with. And so when they learned that I was speaking with the same person, it gave them a level of comfort that okay, it appears she's on the right path. And then I did the interview and I was thankfully able to land the role. But it was foremost because of the fact that I was able to expand, my professional network, and let them know that I was open to the role. And these are the things I had done in the past, and these were the transferable skill set and the values I could bring into whatever organization it was that I was trying to break through. And then during the interview as well, I also tried to sell myself, also with a great degree of confidence that these are the things I have done, and it appeared that that's actually worked for me.
Great, great. So basically did you apply online or is it just reaching out to people
No,
within
I
your
did not.
network?
I just reached out.
Oh, nice,
I
nice.
just
So
reached
this the
out.
same strategy the way you got your first job. Okay.
Yes, I just reached out. I didn't have to apply online.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that sounds good. I mean, we're learning a lot from that today that really this is an effective job search approach. Like you don't have to wait for a job posting online. You can reach out to people within the industry, like Nancy just said, people who are already working within the industry who are probably doing some of the things maybe you did in the past. Reaching
Yeah.
out, it helps a lot, and bottom line. So that's very interesting to realize that even when people are saying there's no job, 2020 COVID-19 basically has hitting up all the jobs in the market. You still find that some people are still getting jobs. Why? Because the attitude is really, I think this is what makes a difference. It's all about attitude a lot of the times. And so one of the things I always let people understand here is what I call the continuous improvement mindset.
Absolutely.
Whatever it is, there's always a room for opportunity. There's a room for improvement. Whatever the situation is in the market right now, as it is with COVID-19, there's always a room that might open up, your own opportunity. You don't have to get sold into the negativity about, there's no job, or they're not hiring foreign trained
Yeah.
professionals. Some people will even say, you know what, Canadians discriminate, foreign trained professionals. At the end of the day, what story are you telling yourself? you know,
Mm.
because that story you are telling yourself, that's your belief system.
And that's so true because I actually at some point began to think that way. And considering the fact that, I was coming from a place where all I needed to do was send my CV, send my resume, and, I got the job right after. And I was coming to a place where you guys say you want immigrants now. And here I am. And so why are you selecting people? All that. So I began to have a biased mindset that why are you hoarding these jobs are there? So I sent my resume, and then after 2 weeks, you advertise it again. Is it that you didn't see what I sent you? All the time you can't have that bias that this guy is actually
Yeah.
not, but one thing I knew that that consistency, where you are not resting or sitting on an idea or sitting on the fact that you already have a mindset that these guys are not hiring. You keep pushing, you keep reaching out. You just never know the door that will open for you.
Good, good, good. Thanks so much, Nancy. Lots of insights here. And I think it's that time. It's one of my favorite question. Of course, I'm biased in a sense because it's about the Supply Jobs Canada network. So the question I like to ask here is, how has Supply Jobs Canada network actually made a difference, in your job search and also in your integration into the economy here in Canada?
Okay, that's a very good one. And I'm going to be very frank about this. Um, for me, like I had mentioned in an earlier question that I just answered, I already had a mindset, that it didn't look like these people were hiring. It didn't look like they really wanted me despite having opened up the borders for us to come in. So why are you hiding the jobs when all of that? I'm well trained, I have a university degree, and then people who have perhaps secondary school or diploma here are getting the jobs and I'm not. What's going on? So I have that mindset. But when I joined the supply jobs, and thanks to a friend of mine who isn't very vocal on the group, but on at the back end we do quite some discussions. I said, Nancy, you must join this group. I'm like, okay, bring me in. What are you waiting for? And then I joined the group, and I could see that these were people who were go-getters in their own sense. And then it wasn't just for the fact that they just wanted to just get jobs of their dreams. They were actually willing also to extend an arm to people who were actually struggling with getting jobs, to open them up to what they must know in terms of how to nail the jobs in supply chain that they want. So referrals, um, job open positions that we would be advertised within that group. If I know someone here, if you're interested in this role, let me know. And then also, in fact, they opened me up to job scan. I didn't even know anything about it before now. Where I had to use that app to sorry, not an app, that website to actually match to see what my chances were. It was through supply jobs like I learned about job scan with all my vast experience. So that was a big one for me. And then also the fact that webinars were organized for free to actually empower and educate people who wanted to break into certain industries and were not sure how to go about it. For me, that was actually a winner as well, because I'm like, okay, this is selfless. This actually shows you're going beyond yourself to actually try to help people. And for me, that's just did it. And so the networks, the people I had met there, the way they thought, the things they talked about, and then the job referrals, just everything just endeared me to the group. And I must say that in the last 3 months, or right after I joined the group, I'm not the same person that was. I'm not the same person right now that I was before I joined that group, and that's the honest truth.
Hmm.
And I would really say thank you to that, Björn. Yeah, thank you for that, Björn, because
Yeah.
you're actually the
Uh,
brain child, yeah, the brain person behind this. And I can see your resilience and the fact that you are willing to just go above and beyond. As much as lies within you to just open these things up. This is what you must know. This is what you must do. This is how you must align yourself, position yourself to get the jobs. And then, hey, I know these people here. I have this network here. If you want some help, I could refer you to this. All that was just, I think it was just really amazing. So
yeah.
community say thank you, yes. And thank you to the
Nice.
team.
Thanks so much, Nancy, for that contribution. I really appreciate you talking about Supply Jobs Canada there because what you have just said now, it helps a lot of people to know. I know, you know what? There's a lot actually that I could do for Supply Jobs Canada network, But even I myself, I have this feeling that the type of responsibility that will come from it, I might not really be able to cope. Okay, so this is the reason why I don't go out there and then say, oh yeah, this is network, where you can get all of these resources and all that. But I've really improved on that now because I have a platform where, of course, I've curated a lot of stuff, both video or all type of resources where they can actually go into that place and then they will see whatever information they want without me actually being directly involved. And of course, we've gotten a lot of people who also have
Yeah.
their own experience who can share, like you're sharing right now, right? So it doesn't have to be all about me, and that's really the one great thing about that network, and that's really what we call a network, right? It's not just
True.
one person who is
Yeah.
helping. It's not just one person who is sharing, their knowledge or their resource. And we have very great people within that group, actually. It's just that we don't
Very
really
true.
post every time, like, oh, we have this person in our group or that. But yeah, we do have people who are doing great stuff, who are consultants, we have mentors, we have all sort of experts in that group. So yeah, it's a very great network for anyone who really wants to reach out, who needs help, especially those who are still kind of struggling with job searching on the Canadian market. So here it is, a question I also like to ask. If you were not working in supply chain management, what would have been your career?
Well, I don't have to think about that so much. I would say law. I
Oh,
would have been
law.
a lawyer. Yes. I
Not
would have
far,
been a
no,
lawyer.
not really that far off from what we do in supply chain, anyways,
Mm,
contract administration, like,
true.
okay.
True. But from this side, I wouldn't be the contract. It wouldn't be the contract administration part of law. It would be the having to defend
Oh,
the
litigation.
customers. How to, yeah, yeah, litigation,
Oh,
having to
okay.
defend.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. Why litigation, if I may ask?
Well, I know that from time I have been someone who likes to speak up for people
Mm,
who are oppressed. I have quite a couple of engagements I'm doing right now. Of course, not from a legal perspective, but from I would say, uh, not a structured NGO, but
yeah.
something that is quite informal, yes. And so I had, thought about it time and again. And then also I know I like to talk, and not just talk random. I like to put up, solid arguments, just to be able to convince or persuade someone. And so if I had to choose another profession, I guess I'll bring in this, home in terms of having to tie my love or my passion for having to speak up for the oppressed, into defending and trying to litigate and ensuring that their rights are actually being fought for. I think I would have been doing just that.
Great,
I would have
great,
been
great.
doing just that.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I can see it in, even given all of all the things you have said so far, like all of the stories you said so far, you talk about negotiation, and then also your experience kind of also ties into supplier governance and all that. I can see there's some kind of interest in those areas which might align with maybe regulations even. But of course, you're talking about litigation as one thing that
Mhm.
kind of interests you about the law profession.
Yeah.
I'll confess to you, I'm not very good in memories, and I know that if you're gonna be a lawyer, you have to be able to know all those,
Like,
prior cases and be able to cite from those things without even looking at those books.
symptoms,
Oh, I cannot
numbers,
survive that.
days. Ah,
Oh, I
it is
can't
okay.
survive that. So I just know I know who I am. I'm not somebody that can. I like first principles. I like to take things from the first
Oh,
principles.
mm,
Anything beyond that, memory of what happened in the past, blah 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 blah.
yeah.
No, I don't. I don't do that. So yeah, interesting though that you are interested in litigation. That's very good. So thanks so much for that. Really appreciate you sharing. And yeah, let's take it to the next question here. I mean, you have also had quite a number of years of experience in supply chain in any case. So, what would you consider the most important leadership lessons that you probably have learned in the past 10 years in your career, and how that has been invaluable for your own team, as somebody who's probably have managed a team as well in your 10 years career?
Mm. I would say that build your team, but give them the credit for it.
Okay, great, great.
Yeah, everyone likes to feel like a part of something. And
Mm,
when they are able to buy into your vision, in terms of leading the team, they will do it selflessly. They will
mm,
do it as though they were the brain people behind it. And that's when you get all of what you want from them. Not in a way of using them, no, but in a way of we are in this together collaboration.
mm.
And then be quick to celebrate every win and give them the credit for
Oh,
it. It has
that's
helped me a lot. Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think if I can paraphrase, recognition of your team members, their contribution to the teamwork. Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of difference for sure. Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to be recognized for whatever they are
Absolutely.
contributing. And, like
Absolutely.
that is actually very scarce in today's workplace, honestly, because what I have experienced a lot of the times is you see a lot of places where the leaders see themselves as, a lot of people still operate in the traditional hierarchical
Absolutely.
environment where, oh,
Mhm.
because they are the lead or they are the supervisor, then
Yeah.
they take all the credit, and then if something goes wrong, then it's
There are quick to
the
blame
people in the team that
everyone.
you know. So yeah,
Quick to
a
blame
lot.
everyone.
I mean, to have that as something that you see as a virtue as a
Mhm.
leader, I mean, that's huge. Thanks so much for bringing that to the fore, because a lot of people probably don't understand the value of doing that in a
Yeah.
team as a leader.
Absolutely.
Here's a ridiculous one. What would you like to do when you grow up?
Well, I'm still growing. Let me see.
And you know why I asked that question, right? The reason I asked that question is usually a lot of people who are actually, doing one thing or the other, but you know what, like their heart really wants something else. Not like even in a profession. Like if you don't care about bills, what would you do? Like if you
Mm.
don't even care about bills at all, what would you do?
For me, I would say I would want to be a philanthropist, really.
Okay.
I mean, that is to say that I will have all the money in the world to be able to do all the things I want for people, really. So I
Mm.
think I would just be a philanthropist.
All right.
Yes.
Great. Like
Yeah.
somebody who is into what they call that area, and like maybe humanitarian
Yes,
activities.
I'll be a
Like,
humanitarian youth
oh,
service
interesting. Oh,
provider.
nice, nice. Yeah, that's great. Well, we're coming to the end of this session, but it's really been very insightful, Nancy. For me, I mean, I could say a little bit about you, working with you. What I've really seen about you, you are somebody who, like you have said in your bio, you're someone who doesn't give excuses. There's some things that can come up, even as a mother, and I see that you still show up. For me, that really, it's a virtue, honestly,
Thank
because
you.
a lot of people can give excuses for anything, but I
There's always
see
an excuse, really. There's always an excuse. If you want
for
an excuse,
anything,
you
right?
can. Yeah. Excuses, like they say, are a dime a dozen. If you want an excuse, you
Oh
get it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. True, true. But I've seen you that regardless of whatever it is, even at your own inconvenience, you still show up. And I think it's an attitude that is also very scarce. And to have that type of attitude, I mean, it's a leadership attitude, honestly, because you have a situation where something has to be done, and then some people will give 1 million excuses why they wouldn't do it. But if you all have that attitude of the show up, regardless, whatever, that makes a lot of difference. And it's like a leadership by example, which really it's the practical leadership, right? Okay, yeah, not things are not going well, but I'm still gonna show up, and which makes a lot of difference in anything that one is doing. and even in your own personal development, it makes a
mm,
lot of. I mean, talking about you having to go reach out, when you're in your very first career. I mean,
mm,
you pretty that attitude showed up there because you thought, well, I'm just gonna go out there. I'm gonna be sharing my resume on the streets. There are a lot of people who would never, never, ever try that. And also, you also said that here when you broke into the industry, yeah, you have to reach out. You didn't wait. You had the experience where you were writing this application and it wasn't working, and then your attitude showed up again. Like, I'm gonna just reach out. So it's working for you, and I will encourage you to keep doing it in anything whatsoever, in any endeavor that you are working on. Just show up, just have that attitude. Finally, what are the three most important insights, so three, that you have gained in your journey in Canada here that could help new job seekers in Canada?
mm. The first one, I would say be a lifelong learner.
Mm,
Be a lifelong learner. Always
right, right.
keep learning. The second is keep an open mind.
Mm.
Keep an open mind. Never say never. And then the third, let me see, show up without excuses. Yeah. Show up without excuses.
Awesome, awesome. So the first one is, if you can remind me, you said the
Be
first one
a
is
lifelong learner.
lifelong learner.
Yes.
Just keep on
You
learning,
always keep
continuous improvement,
stretching.
basically.
Yes. Keep stretching. Keep developing yourself. Keep improving on all fronts. Always try to upgrade yourself to remain relevant to what is at hand. Just keep be a lifelong learner. Don't be too tired to learn. Yes.
Oh yeah. And the
And then the
second one
second
is
one, keep an open mind. The possibilities are endless.
be
Yes.
open-minded.
Keep an open mind.
Great,
And
great.
then the third one, show up, no
Just show
excuses.
up. Whatever it is, show up. Okay, great, great. Thanks so much. And with that, our session with Nancy will come to a close. But it's been wonderful talking to you. I mean, being part of your journey, for me,
Mm,
also something I cherish, to meet people who are up and doing. It's really something that, makes a lot of difference for anyone who is working on any project. I mean, one of, like in project management, we talk about critical path, critical path are those series of activities that
mm,
has to happen,
yeah.
and then
Has
if
to
they happen,
happen.
then your project is going well. But
Mm,
my critical path, and that's really the foundation of serial projects, this is why I have serial projects, is people are the critical path. Because
mm,
without people, those activities are not
absolutely.
happening.
Absolutely. That's so correct.
Those
That's so
activities are not
correct.
happening, and this is why I cherish connecting with people. That's why I like to
Mm,
build people up, because
mm,
you don't know down the road, when those people are going to give
yeah.
back to you. You don't
Yeah.
know what situation are going to be when those same people that you help to help, when you were, having things going well for you. You don't know when they're going to be of help. So this is the reason
Sure.
why, for me, people are the critical path in any project,
Absolutely.
you know. So nice having you
Absolutely.
here. And on that note, I would say thank
Thank
you
you.
guys who have been listening, been able to listen to Nancy. I would say, if you are job seekers, if you are in Canada, if you're looking to go come to Canada, well, I say connect, connect, connect. You don't have to even be in Canada before you start connecting. As long as you have it
Yeah.
on your goal, reach out to people, just like Nancy has told us. And uh, this recording will be on YouTube. I'll share it on LinkedIn. Connect with us, connect with our YouTube. I also encourage, I actually produce a lot of videos on YouTube. I'm also using this
Mm,
opportunity to say, go to YouTube if you are listening and you're concerned about job search, career development in Canada, or even entrepreneurship. Go to my YouTube, Abiodun. Okay, you will see a lot of resources there. And if you do, make sure you subscribe. It helps me. It encourages me because you can just be creating these things and nobody cares. Like that is
that's
not
true.
really the best. So if you can subscribe, will really help the reach. of my video as well. So thanks for doing that. And on that note, say have the Christmas is gone already, so a happy New Year in advance. Thanks, Nancy, again, and
My
my
pleasure
my
always.
best wishes for you as you progress in your career. I'm sure, like I'm certain that you're gonna do great in your career here in Canada in supply chain management. So, cheers to a fantastic career ahead of you, Nancy. Okay, and that's it. Bye for
Thanks
now.
for having me.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.